When people decide to do a rebrand and go ghost and pop back out unrecognizable, transformed, life changed, you do know that there is actual work being done during that time, right? We aren't just going into hibernation and popping back out hot, sexy, goals accomplished and everything in between. No, there's actual work being done. There's real work being done. And I don't think that we talk enough about it. So that is what I'm here to do today. What's going on, y'all? Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Bree, also known as the one and the only, the first and the finest, Miss Wright. If you are reoccurring, mwah, you already know the vibes. And if you are new here, I am your Genzennial bestie, your virtual sis, someone that is working so hard to successfully navigate her 20s in an attempt to thrive in her 30s. If this sounds like something that aligns with what you want to do for yourself, do yourself a favor and like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell. I promise that this is going to be a wonderful journey, not just of glowing and growing and elevating and becoming the best versions of ourselves, but also one that has a lot of lessons, that has a lot of mistakes and bumps along the road, but you will learn so much. And the journey would be that much better if you came along with me. So join the community. I hope you stick around. Now, in today's video, what we are going to be talking about is something that has been highly spoken about a lot lately, and I have a lot to get off my chest in regards to it. So we are still in the very beginning of 2025, and everybody and their grandmom has decided that they want to do a rebrand. They want to change their lives. They want to lock in and become unrecognizable and genuinely achieve all of the goals that 2025 has to offer by changing their life, transforming, and rebranding. And I absolutely love it. I love it for everyone. Anybody that has been with me on this channel for a little while knows that I've recently decided to do a rebrand myself, and I decided to do this a little bit before the new year so that I could be the person that I want to be, or at least kind of like that person, by the time that the year started. And so far, I've been doing really well. However, I have learned a lot since deciding to embark on a rebrand in November and now being in the thick of the beginning of 2025. I'm actually still in the thick of my rebrand, I would say. And having started in November and now being in January, trying to make sure that I live out all of the things that I've aspired to work toward for the new year to make my goals come into fruition, I have learned a lot along the way. And I feel as though what I have learned would be extremely valuable to you. If you're someone that wants to lock in and become the best version of themselves for 2025, you want to do a rebrand, you want to transform and become unrecognizable, I 100,000% support you. But I also recommend watching this video to the end because I think that it has become more trendy than an actual mindset shift and a process that we have to endure in order to see the results from. And as someone who has been working during this time, I have learned a lot of things and I want to share them with you so that hopefully you don't have to learn the hard way, but rather you could just learn from me and you can see nothing but wonderful results following your rebrand. So let's get into it. So as I've mentioned, I have decided to do a rebrand, and I made that decision back in November. I told myself I wanted it to be inside and out, both physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. I wanted to step into this new version of myself, someone that was extremely confident, someone that was hungry for her goals, someone that was disciplined and consistent, and someone that was steadfast in working toward all of the things that God has to offer. And that has been what I've been doing for the last couple of months. During this time, it has been very much grind mode, very much lock in, very much D&D activated, like all gas, no break, tunnel vision on my goals. And there is definitely a beautiful side to that. However, I have learned so much, and I think one of the biggest lessons that I have learned as I've been embarking on this rebrand and as I'm still in the thick of it is that the previous versions of yourself will be challenged during this time. And hopefully, if you're doing it right, the previous versions of yourself that do not align with where you want to be will be destroyed during this time. Now, I want to emphasize this because I think that the rebrand, ultimate rebrand, lock in, go ghost, become unrecognizable, it's cute and all that, but there are so many versions of yourself that you have to actually let go. There's so much you need to unlearn if you actually want to step into the woman or the person that you want to be. This rebrand is it should be very personal to you. And hopefully you've gotten to a point where you've decided, I no longer want to be that previous version of myself. That's the reason that you've gotten to this rebrand, right? There is something about the life that you're currently living that you're like, I want better. I want more. I want a change. I need to see change. I need to make things shake for me personally. That's the point that I had came to back in November. And as I've been on the journey, I have realized that there are a lot of previous versions of myself that need to get the boot in order for this thing to work out. And it's been challenging. It's been actually challenging, but I want to let you know that it's definitely possible, but it won't be if you do not destroy the versions of yourself that do not align with where you want to be. And in my case, there has been specifically four versions of myself that need to get the boot. I'm still working on giving them the boot entirely because it is an unlearning process. However, I'm making the decision that they need to go. And I've learned the hard way that both those versions of myself and this wonderful new rebranded version of myself cannot coexist in the same space. So who are these previous versions of myself and why do they need to go? Without further ado, number one is the people pleaser. Yeah, where are all my people pleasers at? Child, I've already bound that spirit in the name of Jesus because I have been through so much as a result of people pleasing, and I have been literally unlearning this identity that I had previously adopted of myself, that I was just too nice, as something I was told so much as a child. Oh, you're too nice, you're too nice, you're too nice. And therapy has taught me the difference between being kind and being nice. But the nice person is often someone who is a people pleaser, someone who does not do things for themselves as much as they do for other people, someone who will put themselves at a disservice in an attempt to please others, maybe even doing things that don't align with where they want to be as a result of pleasing other people. When I tell you, I can't even get into it because it'll start to get dark, honestly, if I get into all of the different ways and things that I have done solely to please others. And there is a lot of unlearning where that specifically is concerned. Okay, why do I feel the need to please other people? What is it that I am looking for? This need for validation. I can't tell you how. That's a whole different video, a whole different conversation for another day. And we can get into it if y'all want to. Let me know below. But you cannot be a people pleaser and embark on a true rebrand. At least I have learned. In my experience, those two people cannot coincide. I had to give the people pleaser a boot. Why? Because this rebrand is solely for you. You cannot decide, I want to rebrand myself and my boyfriend. I want to rebrand myself and my best friend. Doesn't work that way. And you are doing it because there's a thing about yourself that you feel as though needs transformation, it needs change, it needs growth, it needs elevation. Therefore, it's for you. It should be for nobody besides you. And it's a time that I've realized I had to be very selfish at times, and I'm not used to that because I've adopted this previous identity of myself that is, too nice at times, that doesn't really feel like going to the club, but doesn't want to say no to the people that she's cool with. Someone that doesn't really feel like or doesn't really have the money to do X, Y, and Z, but she doesn't want to tell this person no. Someone she cares about, someone she's cool with, she struggles to say no. You need to learn how to say no. As I shake my head, yes. You need to learn how to say no. That is one of the biggest lessons that will absolutely help you if you are trying to do a rebrand. Locking in, grind time, D&D, all of that requires you to kind of have a certain level of discipline, and it requires you to know your triggers. It requires you to make decisions that aren't always comfortable, but hopefully they are going to thwart you to where you want to be. Success is on the other side of comfort. I tell this to my little sister all the time, and hopefully like y'all is like my little sisters, or y'all like gang, y'all are gang to me. And I want y'all to know that I have never seen more success than during the times when I have been uncomfortable. Literally going to college is probably the biggest example of that. But going to college, staying in a dorm room with absolute strangers, putting yourself out there, moving to a new city, being alone somewhere new, like trying new things. Every single time I have done something that is extremely uncomfortable, I see success. And you need to apply this where your rebrand is concerned. If you're uncomfortable telling people no, you're gonna have to get comfortable doing it, because you're gonna have to start to say no to things that don't serve you, and that is okay. You can also find ways to still show up for people in your life. I hate when we associate this locking in, grind time, rebrand, go ghost, come back unrecognizable with actually going ghost. I do not want to perpetuate the idea that you need to be an a-hole or a b-word to any of the people in your life in order to grow and be successful. You absolutely do not. And I actually think it might even be the opposite, because sometimes when people have the tendency to push away everybody and they call it, oh, I'm going into hibernation, I'm ignoring everyone that I know and love, actually not being a good friend or a good sister or a good girlfriend or a good whomever. I think when you're doing that, it's low-key not just detrimental to the relationships that you have, but it's also like a little bit of insecurity probably buried in there. Because if you were really doing something that was going to thwart you towards success, growth, elevation, and the best version of yourself, the people in your life would hopefully be applauding it. They would be like, yeah, get it, girl. Oh, my bad. You about to pay that credit card off? We can go to happy hour next month. It's okay. I'll see you later, sis. Those are the types of friends and relatives and people you should be having around. And if they're not being like that, it's either that they're the problem or that you're not really doing nothing. Keep it a buck. If you're going into hibernation and locking in and going ghost, and when you're ghost, you're really just in your room scrolling on TikTok, you're really just staying in the dark and not associating yourself with other people because you're antisocial. There's a way where you could be both a good person to those around you, those that you care about, but you could also still be true to yourself, be selfish and disciplined where your goals are concerned, and kindly let the people know in your life, like, listen, I'm working toward these goals. Unfortunately, I can't make it out. Unfortunately, I can't do X, Y, or Z, or I can't, binge or do the big back things that we used to do last summer because I got these goals that I'm working toward. And hopefully they would support you. If they are your good, true friends, relatives, people around you in your life that love you and actually want to see you win, they're gonna support you and they're gonna understand. And if they don't, you already know what to do. The second version of myself that I needed to give the boot was, I'll call her Little Miss Impatience. Yes, she had to go. I don't believe that there is a specific and definitive time on how long it takes for you to do a true rebrand, for you to truthfully lock in, grind, and become this brand new transformed version of yourself. You'll see a lot of people make videos like, lock in for 30 days and become that girl. Lock in for 60 days and become unrecognizable. It's not to say that those don't work, but it's gonna differ depending upon what goals you're working toward. So I don't believe in saying, unless you've got something you're trying to accomplish, like you got a vacation in 60 days and you're gonna lock in for the 30 days prior so that you can get ready for the vacation, something like that that's actually time bound. Otherwise, some of your goals might not have a expiration date or a due date. Some of these goals you might just have to lock in until you see what you want to see. You might have to lock in until you're actually where you want to be, and that's cool. I talk about in a previous video how it's important for you to incorporate both rest days, reset days, cheat days as well, and for you to make sure that you're giving yourself grace. And I still hold true to that. I want to emphasize that while I'm saying to kick out Little Miss Impatient, because just because you're not giving it a time or an end date doesn't mean that you go hard for the entire, it could be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. You might be locking in and transforming for like a good year. Like, it's really going to depend on what you're working toward. So I'm not saying don't let your foot up off the gas for that entire year. Absolutely not. Make sure you take care of yourself, but you have to be patient. And most importantly, you need to release the need for immediate gratification. I talk about this a lot in my previous video as well, but I learned the hard way that when you are working towards goals very, very steadfastly, checking the results and looking for them to come immediately is like the key to developing insecurities. You become less and less confident when you're constantly looking for the results the next day. I was watching a sermon by TD Jakes, and he was saying, you cannot plant a seed and expect wheat tomorrow. Like, it doesn't work that way. You cannot plant a seed today and expect wheat tomorrow, and expect a flower tomorrow, and expect a tree tomorrow. And the greatest things in life take time. Everything is about timing. I'm actually going to link that sermon below because that one really, really hit home for me. And I think it would do the same for you, especially if you struggle with being patient. You cannot put a time restraint on this rebrand and transformation because you might just come out of it being exactly the same way you were when you went in because you're impatient, because you want to see the results in 2.5 seconds. I actually started to give myself real life rules so that I could release the need for immediate gratification. And I seen results when I did that. I was struggling with checking the views on my videos within a few hours and getting really, 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 really insecure when I realized that 15 hours would go by and I only had like 30 views. That would just really break me down. I would be getting really upset about it. And I found myself feeling defeated, like, oh my gosh, I'm putting in all this work. I'm filming for this amount of time. I'm editing for that amount of time. I'm doing all these graphics and edits and for 30 people, feeling less than. And it definitely was starting to take a toll on my motivation. You're less motivated to do things when you don't feel confident in yourself after doing them. And you won't feel confident in yourself if you're looking for results in 2.5 seconds. You have to let it breathe. You have to give yourself time. You have to be patient. So I started to tell myself I cannot check my YouTube channel until after 10 in the morning. I was waking up, I was going to bed, checking the views, waking up in the morning, 6 a.m., checking the views. It wasn't healthy. And I love YouTube. I love doing this for you guys, and I do not want to develop a toxic relationship with this platform because I love it and I am dedicated to growing on here. So no, I told myself I need to give myself some restraints. I need to make it cut clean and crispy, and if that means that I can't look at my YouTube channel until after 10 in the morning, then so be it. And once I did that, I seen better results. And perhaps it's because I gave it time, or perhaps it's because I had more faith. Like, you know what? Just post the content and give it to God. Just post the content and get up off that damn platform. Because just the idea of checking over and over and over again, it's gonna psych yourself out. You're not gonna see the results that you want. It's going to make you insecure and less motivated to continue to work toward that goal. So the minute that you decide, like, okay, I'm going to chill out, I'm going to lean more on developing the habits that are necessary in order to be consistent, leaning more on my discipline and my consistency than on my mood, and not expecting results overnight, you have a way better chance at being successful during this rebrand and this time period where you're locking in and you're grinding. This hustle is not for everybody. I promise you that. This hustle can become strenuous, and you will make it 10 times more strenuous by trying to force results in the time span that you want them to be. This is going to happen in God's timing only. Trust the process, be patient, and relax. Okay, the third version of myself that I needed to give the boot to was, I'll call her the wilderness warrior. That might be a little bit dramatic, but quite actually, no, the wilderness warrior. For those who begin into the word, the wilderness is referred to as a time where you're grinding, you're hustling, you're working hard, and everything feels strenuous, everything feels rough, like you're in a rough patch, but you have to work through it in order to get to the greater good. And a good chunk of your transformation period, your rebrand, the time where you're locking in to become unrecognizable, can feel like the wilderness. And what I want to emphasize is that it does not have to look like struggle or feel like struggle. I have the tendency to forget about myself when I am so tunnel visioned on my goals. I can become very not caring about my appearance points. I could become very, very one-track minded. And there is a positive side to that. However, I did not want my rebrand to be solely internal. I was also very adamant about having a physical rebrand. I literally dyed my hair. The girl is a blonde. Like, the girl is a blonde. And not only did I dye my hair, but I also told myself that I wanted to be more intentional about how I show up, both on this channel and just for myself in general. Working from home can take a toll on you. You can just be looking bummy every single day, and going to the gym constantly, your hair start looking a hot mess, and you just don't be caring because you're like, you know what, I'm not here to look cute. I used to say that all the time.
I ain't here to look cute. I'm here to get this chicken. I'm here to make something shake. I'm here to work, baby.
That's nice. That's nice and all, but please do not forget about yourself during this time. I had to destroy the wilderness warrior in me because she doesn't care enough about the things that can seem minute but actually add up. I think it's easier to show up for yourself when you're showing up in a way that is appealing to you. This should be for you. Not saying you need to look cute to go to the gym at 6 in the morning because you think there are gonna be some menses in there. And you might block a blessing if that's what you're looking for, but that's not the point. The point is you should be doing this for you because, like they say, when you look good, you feel good. Over time, when you're just like, you know what, F it, sweatpants, you know what, F it, I'ma throw a bonnet on, you know what, F it, we getting it out the mud, we thorough, it's struggle, it's a hustle, it's a grind, you just start to kind of not make it romanticized, and that can be hard to maintain. Nobody enjoys struggle, but you want your rebrand to be something that you enjoy, so why would you not romanticize it? Actually take care of yourself, and trust me, a lot of my goals are financial, so I get to the point where I'd be like, you know what, she might have to skip a pedicure this month, and that's just gonna be what it is. Or she might not be able to get that wax. It's giving there for this month because the way I am trying to stack my cheese this month, I'm not playing. Press-ons. And listen, all of the things that I said are okay. You can be a DIY baddie and still take care of yourself and still prioritize your appearance and still have the desire to show up in a way that matters. Because when it feels too hard, too rough, too much of a struggle, too gritty, it can only last but so long. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and please learn from me. I definitely will be getting into some DIY action in the months that I am prioritizing my finances. I'll definitely be, doing my little mocktails and espresso martinis at home when it's not giving. I have the funds to go out for happy hour or for this or that at the third. Like, it's okay to do that. But if it's going to fill your cup up to look a certain way, to show up in a certain way, please do it. You want to romanticize the hustle. The last version of myself that I had to give the boot as I embarked on this rebrand has been the anxious hottie. Now, I called her the anxious hottie because my good sis, Megan Thee Stallion, has opened up about struggling with anxiety, and I feel as though a lot of people can relate to that, whether you've been clinically diagnosed with it or it's something that you just experienced in your own personal life. I know I have, and it hasn't dawned on me that up until I started to become more in touch with God and my relationship with God, that anxiety is actually fear, doubt, worry, and insecurities manifested into sometimes a physical form, but most often a mental form. It could feel like you're constantly overthinking. That is a previous version of myself that I have adopted, an identity of myself that I've adopted into who I am, because you're like, oh, you're a Virgo. Virgos overthink. Yeah, I overthink so bad. I overthink so hard. I overthink all the time. I'm just an overthinker. No, I'm not. I'm gonna stop claiming that, for one, because overthinking has been to my detriment very, very often in my life. So no, overthinking is a result of anxiety. It can manifest in a way that makes you feel like your heart is pounding out of your chest. It can be difficult to make decisions. You can feel like you're constantly looking for help or guidance from other people, from the internet, from your friends. Being so uncertain about yourself, it could feel like the world is crashing down on you just from something that could be very small at times. Like there are things that I don't want to say one thing warrants anxiety and others don't, because it's all circumstantial and it's all subjective, to be honest. But I have realized where things could give me anxiety that really, really, really shouldn't. And I've realized that I no longer want anxiety to have a hold on me, and I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. But most importantly, I've learned that anxiety is the opposite of faith. And I learned that in my rebrand, as I'm trying to transform and lock in and grind and become this wonderful new version of myself, I have to have more faith than fear. And I just told y'all that fear is quite literally the definition of anxiety. Like, we do not have to claim that we got anxiety. Like,
listen, I got anxiety. I can't deal with this. This is just too much. Honestly, you just pick. I can't. I got anxiety. I ain't finna do all this.
Shut it up. Cut that out. I'm so serious. Please cut that out, because that version of you cannot be so confident that she's about to transform and become this wonderful new version of herself. How can she exist while someone who can barely get over fear, worry, doubt, and insecurity, how can all of them exist at the same time as this new wonderful version of yourself? You have to have the utmost amount of faith as you're going into this lock-in period, this winter arc, this rebrand. No matter what time of year you decide to do it, you need to have an unwavering amount of confidence, i.e. faith. You need that. I promise you, you need that. Because when you are working your behind off, you start to feel like the results aren't coming in the way that you wanted them to. You're starting to feel impatient, like I talked about. The wilderness part is starting to take control, and you looking a hot mess for months on end. You haven't done anything for yourself for weeks. Imagine going through all of those emotions and feeling all of those feelings, and then being like, what am I even doing this for? Like, you start to feel like uncertain about yourself. You start to feel insecure about your decision to even rebrand in the first place. And that brings me to another very crucial part, is that you need to know why you are deciding to do a rebrand. Why are you locking in and grinding? What are you grinding for? What are you locking in for? What do you hope to see at the end of this tunnel? What does this new version, this transformed, unrecognizable version of yourself look like? And why do you want to do it? Knowing your why is massively important if you want to have a successful rebrand in 2025 and thereafter, because knowing your why should hopefully cement your faith. And if it doesn't, you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. Knowing your why will also help you to maintain motivation when you don't have it, because those times will come when you do not have it in you. When you remind yourself of your why, all right, let me just get up and go ahead and do this. I don't feel like it, but you know what? I'm here. It will implore you to show up at the times that you do not feel you are able to show up, when you know why you're doing it. And all of that encompassed into one has the same foundation, and that is faith. Without that foundation, all your measly little whys, all of your measly little previous versions of yourself, all of the little Pinterest boards and mood boards and vision boards you had, ideas of this person you want to be, all of that means nothing, and it will come crumbling down without having that foundation of faith. You have to believe that God doesn't want you to be broke. God doesn't want you to be unhealthy. God does not want you to be insecure. God does not want you to live in fear or have anxiety. God wants better for you. You have to believe that what you're working toward is already yours. That is the most important version of myself that needed to get the boot, as someone that was so unsure that what I was working toward is actually feasible for me to obtain. No, baby, it is yours. You can obtain it. Anything that makes you think otherwise is not a faith. It is a fear. If you are worried about showing up for yourself because you don't know how other people will perceive you, you're nervous that it won't actually happen, you'll be wasting your time overthinking about things that genuinely and truly do not matter. I implore you to just show up, to commit yourself to this lock-in time, to this rebrand, to this transformation, because you only will know what's on the other side of it once you get uncomfortable. And when you pray about it, I cannot emphasize the amount of prayer that I've had to get into, and that has been, I prayed before I filmed this video. I prayed before I thought about what I was going to say to y'all. It is very, very, very important to make sure that you're not just doing these things willy-nilly because you've seen it on TikTok. Like, this is an actual mindset shift that you have to embark on, and you cannot do it without faith. So pray on it. When you are uncertain, pray on it. When you are in fear, pray on it. When you are worried, pray on it. When you are experiencing insecurity, pray on it and have faith that everything that you're working toward is already yours. Just because it's already yours does not mean that it's going to just be handed to you. You still gotta grind. You still gotta hustle and commit yourself to this time, but you can do it. And knowing your why and actually having faith in the outcome will guarantee you success in this transformation. You will become the person you want to be. And that person doesn't have to be completely unrecognizable. That person does not have to shed every single version of yourself that you were previously. You don't have to turn into a new person. The person that you are right now is beautiful, is wonderful, is amazing. And you're only watching this video because all of those things are true and because you have a desire for more. You want to grow and you want to elevate, and that is perfectly fine. You can do all of that, but the versions of yourself that don't serve you anymore, those are the ones that gotta go. And once you do that, baby, you'll be green. You'll be the person that you once looked up to. That brings me to the conclusion of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I am so excited and eager to see where this transformation both takes me and where it takes you. So please let me know in the comments what version of yourself you're working toward. If you are embarking on a rebrand, what prompted you to want to do a rebrand, and who are you hoping to see at the end of this tunnel? Because there is a beautiful, beautiful light at the end of it, and all it requires is for you to lock in, and you can do that. I'm hoping that we can do that together. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Also, remember to hit that notification bell because the next one is coming sooner than you think. And thank you again. I'll see you soon. Bye.